Kawati, Sehopa, Watuhinome, Taupu, Wilfred Herrera Jr., Tawa James, Tano James, Sehopa, Wena, Tawa Strikja, Tawa Tawasha, okay, Skuna Mahete, Tika Wait Kuna, Hopa, Tawa, Tit Ye, Etik, Sahano James, Hatiti, Shuawa, Kawesha Put, Tik Tawa, Tik Jas, Tawa Tawasha, Etik, Tuna Masete, Ta Met, Kai Tanisha, Havanas, Bish, Mark Najaku, Eteme, Sawa James, okay, Anime, Nidrasi. This is Governor Herrera, in continuing our communications and our efforts to keep everyone informed and to communicate with our tribal membership here at Laguna and those that are away from the Pueblo. Again, offer you our best wishes and greetings, and I hope everyone is well. And so what I'd like to do today is to, again, present some of our latest efforts that, again, in regard to this health situation, emergency situation, to give you this information. So what I'd like to begin with is what I'm going to refer to as the executive order that I signed on April 8th and is now in effect until further notice. But first of all, what I'd like to express is that to thank you in advance for all of the efforts from the people in our first line of response, our medical, our operations people, our entities, our staff here, all of you for your efforts to keep this, keep us strong in regard to what we're trying to protect, in regard to the Laguna people, especially our elders, our children, and to have our communities come together to do this in a good way. And hopefully that what efforts we undertake, that this health pandemic and the virus, the COVID-19, will not impact us in our little part of the world. So let me go to the executive order, and the order itself is really, in a straightforward sense, is that it's stay at home, the emphasis at stay at home, and also what it expresses is the Pueblo closure to non-residents. And really, the encouragement is for our tribal members to stay put. We're seeing what is being experienced out in the world, our neighboring communities outside of Laguna. And right now, to this day, we're very fortunate that we have not seen those kinds of impacts. Let us continue to be grateful for that. But we need to be mindful to do our part. The executive order that is in place is available in various forms. We have it on the Pueblo Laguna homepage. We also have a new Pueblo Laguna Facebook page. And these are examples of where the order is for your reference and your viewing. And I ask all of you that are able to access that information to read it, understand it, and especially to abide by it. This is in effect until further notice, along with other orders that have been issued from the federal, state, cities, and places where all of us reside. This was necessary for Pueblo Laguna to now do this. There's also a frequently asked questions. This is part of the information that is provided. This frequently asked questions document is very important because it gives information, and it's a document where it will be updated by our team and staff to make sure that they capture some of the common questions and responses that our people are looking to. One of the new elements that now is part of the executive order is a curfew for Laguna residents. Again, we're one Pueblo Laguna, but we do have our 6 communities. We have Siama, Rahi Casablanca, Ensenal, Powari, Laguna, and Masita. With our 6 communities, we are now all under a curfew from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. each day, each night. And we are asking everyone to be mindful and to adhere and abide by this. The order details some of the specific expectations, some of the things that we are asking for our people to abide by and understand why these are necessary. We have our village officials, our tribal leadership, our police department. We are all in a position to help each other. This is a challenging time. We know that this is unprecedented, but with this effort, it's something that we feel is very necessary. And we're hoping that the outcomes from this will be positive and beneficial, and those protections we're seeking to our protection of our community, the safety and the well-being, that those will be the good outcomes that will result, that we'll see. So we're asking to take these seriously, and for all of us to go about this and do our part. Again, a big thank you to the community. This order was signed on April 8th, and in regard to the curfew specifically, I committed myself to help by, in the evening hours, once the curfew hour is reached at 8 p.m., I will be, and I have done that last evening, I went to every village and at least ascertained and saw that the curfew was being abided by, and that people were respectfully staying home, not being on the road, getting home from their essential workplaces and providing those essential work and services. And we have those considerations. One of the things that we're asking is that you wear your badges. From the Pueblo and other entities and other organizations, many of us have a badge that were issued. And the reason I'm referring to the badge is that if you're an essential employee and you're coming home around the curfew or shortly after, this is recognized that you're en route from work and trying to get home. And so this is your ticket to get home safely, and you won't be out of compliance, but you're at least trying to stay within the curfew times, coming back home and also going in the morning. Again, those times are 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. Each day and night now. So with that, I'd also like to thank, again, as I made that initial route and tour of the villages last evening, I was very encouraged that what I saw was, I did see our villages, that there was not traffic within the village proper. There wasn't any traffic on the state road through our village from Parahi to New Laguna and Laguna, also up to Powari and Ensenal, down to Masita. All of our villages, I want to emphasize. I was very pleased to see everyone already adhering to the curfew. Even before the executive order, I know we've been in that mode to already do that as a community because of the stay at home, the shelter in place, the remote work from home. All of these efforts are now showing good outcomes. And right now, as we know, we're prepared, we're aware, and we stand by to continue these efforts and protect, again, our Pueblo Laguna communities, the safety and well-being of our people. So with that, I'll go to another area which is very concerning because it has come to light, it's been communicated, and this is really a reference to, we know that we have relatives, friends that come to our communities, but really what I'm expressing is that we need to emphasize to our family and relatives that are not here at the Pueblo that in any case, if they're exposed or infected and have tested positively, that they should not be coming to the Pueblo of Laguna. We don't want to transmit and to expose others to this risk of being infected by the virus. We do have a lot of calls on the hotline that people are inquiring. They want to come from places that are, we're saying, are hot spots, that are very deeply impacted by the virus. So I'm asking for all of us to be very open and sincere with our families that are not here, our relatives, friends, and let them know that our Pueblo, the signage is there. Our Pueblo is closed to visitors and non-residents, and some of our people are in those categories because they do not fully reside here, even though they are family and tribal members, but that pertains to them also. But that is really something I want strongly emphasized, that we be mindful of that and help to communicate that. Let's be very mindful and observant when considering the risks and what's at stake if physical contact is made between relatives and friends that come from these communities. We must practice self-discipline and sacrifice to limit the physical contacts for the time being. We don't know how long, but as this order and other efforts are in place, and with other jurisdictions, we have to limit that. These measures that we undertake now will help us in the long run and hopefully take our Gawekame family, our Pueblo, our people, further into the future. So again, what we're trying to emphasize, and we know this as one of the terms that is being used, is social distancing. 5 people or less. This is very important. It is showing that by doing this, it is having a positive impact. We need to continue this. A real example of this is that it's causing us to make hard decisions. This week is Easter Holy Week. And prior to this week, I made the decision to cancel the Easter week meetings and associated activities within our Pueblo Laguna. This is a event that we are accustomed to having as part of our community gatherings and sharing the history, knowledge, language, teachings of our people. So with that, we are not having those activities. Again, demonstrating and reinforcing these efforts that we can't promote the gathering at those levels of people that attend, the interaction, the social distancing is really the emphasis that we're trying to reinforce. It's out of the norm for Laguna because we are accustomed to some of these things. But we know we need to make the sacrifice in order to keep our community safe, provide those protections and the well-being overall of our Pueblo, our elders, children, and the people of our Pueblo of Laguna community. The Pueblo of Laguna and the emergency operations and team are taking steps to keep our community safe. We need your help also. All the communications, flyers, hotline number, the Pueblo Laguna homepage, the communications internally through our network systems with the entities and others, they're all being used in order so that we can keep people informed, updated, and that we can do this in a good way in regard to the communications that we need to keep flowing. So I'd just like for all of us to again use that as a real example of how we've had to make our own decisions here. But again, we look forward to a day when we can get back to where Pueblo Laguna can again celebrate and look forward to the things that we know are part of our calendar and part of our Pueblo here on an annual basis. So let me go to some other areas that I want to make sure I express. And really, I want to reference this part in relation to what I hear, what many of you have expressed to me, whether it's your own opinion, interpretation, the way you see things now. But the resounding thing that seems to come is this is a wake-up call. And in a sense, we're seeing history repeat itself. And the way I would express that is that we can look to when we've seen times of war, famine, health, environment. In many of these areas in history, this has been, in a sense, a wake-up call. Because it usually takes a crisis, either worldwide or in a local community or small community, to get our attention. It causes us to do things such as rallying together. It causes us to look to understand and comprehend what is happening. Overall, history has shown us in very challenging times. It also brings out the best in people. And I see this in our Laguna people at this time, that one of the things that is, again, resounding from a lot of people in our community, it causes us to think about even just family back in the day. How did we live back in the past as a Laguna people in our community? How did we relate and learn? How did we keep busy? You know, some of the things that kept us busy were people that, and their families, relatives that worked with the sheep, cattle, farming. We had village obligations, and we had chores that we did in our own respective households. These are some of the things that we should continue to reflect on, but also now, it, in a sense, causes us to be mindful that some of these things are now the way we have to approach life. Some of these things that we did in the past, because of this unprecedented event of the COVID-19, the virus, and the impacts it's had to humanity. So the efforts we have undertaken and the measures we're taking are along those lines. Reference has been to what has been stated as the new norm. And the new norm now, currently in this health situation, emergency situation, is that we have to stay at home. We have to look at a shelter in place. And that shelter in place really to our children and elders and others who need to look to the home, to where now a lot of their needs have to be provided for. That's their shelter. That's a safe place for them, but they still need the things such as food, water, medical, prescriptions. They still need the things that they need in their household and in their life. And so a lot of people, again, are telework from home, having to have those available to them to continue their work. Again, the new norm is across the world now, and even here at Laguna, that we're having to provide these options, and we have done so. But we also still have responsibility to provide the essential programs and services. And we have those employees who, under the order and other efforts, we regard as essential. That's why it is important to identify those individuals and to recognize them that they are essential. And when we see them come in to and from work or providing those services, that we recognize them, that they're doing that as part of this effort to keep things going. Again, this new approach to life, I say that in that way, because whether you're impacted in your job, in your school work, in your community, in your normal way of life as we have come to experience, it almost seems like there's a new approach to life. It really is. Learning to survive, in a sense. People have expressed that it's a test of faith, a test of courage and strength. Testing, again, requiring us to be resilient and show that resilience in the things that we do now. Again, going back to history repeats itself. You know, we as a native peoples and Pueblo Laguna, we know in our history we've had to experience these impacts from the outside world. Very real, very serious over our history, but our people have continued to be resilient, and we're still here, and we will continue to. Again, these efforts will help us to sustain ourselves and to continue. In a sense, too, for some, it's a life-changing experience. We talk about that, a life-changing moment where it causes us to think about, maybe we need to do things differently. Maybe we need to think about how we approach life. But this is one of those times where it actually has caused us a change in our lifestyle, our way of life, and we need to understand that and to work toward continue it in a good way so that we can, at the end of this crisis, emergency, how we come out of this, that hopefully we'll get back to our Laguna and Pueblo way of our ways here at Laguna. The virus doesn't discriminate. No one is immune. So again, the emphasis is all of this relates back to that. We need to afford the protections. We need to exercise the precautions. We need to enact the communications and the orders and all that we are required to do to make sure we do our part here at Pueblo Laguna. So, in closing, again, I just want to sincerely express that we're all in this effort together. It's going to take all of us and each of us to do our part. Be very honest and straightforward with each other, but also reach out to each other, families that are now having to be families at home. That's a good thing. Embrace that. Become a family again. Communicate in good ways. Foster the love, respect, forgiveness, encouragement, all of these good things. Now we have an opportunity. We shouldn't have no excuse. We're not too busy now because we're home. We do what we need to do in regard to our work. But when we're home, and a lot of people are home now, stay at home, shelter in place, all of these give us opportunity to build our families back up and to continue our family units in a good way now and then going forward in the future. So these are, again, a lot of the elements of this particular video that I like to express today. And I wish all of you well, and to, again, be mindful of what we're expecting of all of us, but also that you take care of yourself, your families, do what you have to do that is appropriate, respectful, and do the best that you can for each other. So with that, I'll just end with this, okay? Salvajevishe, Sanujevishe. Tawai, Etebe, Tumeyuna, Amu Skomani, Kenye Skomani, Basho Skomani. No shit, Rajama Salvajevishe. Mina Mayuna, Tumeyuna, Amu Manija Nastus. Niwahima Rajama Salvajevishe. Mina Mayuna, Tawakunatsa, Diek Jus, Hasta Meh Gume, Diekuyak Jusam Jemisha. Is it Tume Jemi, Marsha Scotia, Shremina, Kayash and Joshak Jus, Dawendaku, Dape.